Good day guys, my name is SimpleStar and welcome back to another video. So earlier this day I got a request to cover some methods to obtain more gold. So this person was not very strong and I have had multiple questions about obtaining gold, especially when you're lower level or not very strong. So I will cover 3 of those today. So the first two don't require that much explanation. The first thing you can do is tame heroic and legendary familiars, seal them and sell them on the marketplace. So if you are a low level or if you don't have the gold to afford more expensive marks, then taming a couple of heroics would be a good idea. So the heroics that I would recommend are, let's see, Agnes the Red, and then a couple from Parnas Coast. So Terrakirov would be a good one, Koresh and Phantom, but you do have to run a dungeon. Apocalypse is also an option, however you do need to be there on time because he spawns with a world boss that is being farmed for his loot. Do not go after Caspert because his marks are also used to tame Ancient Caspert, and it would be a very good idea to save those instead of spending them taming Venomous Casperts. So these heroics, these early game heroics, they're not very popular anymore, so they are very often just flying or walking around. So if we look up Agnes, for example, there are no seals on the marketplace as you can see. Let's find Kira. Terrakirov, same story. So these familiars will usually sell for 50 to 100 gold per seal. Now if we look up the marks for Agnes, that is a dragon emblem. They're relatively expensive at this moment. 20 gold is very affordable, especially if you're going to put the seal back on the market for 3 or 4 times the price. But I've seen them at around 10 gold and that is a very good price to buy a couple of them. So you can do that to earn some gold, and then for the legendaries I recommend you tame Torkai, Mysterious Tishanan and Idus. Now if we look at the prices, so this is on the Akaldus server, so it might be a bit different on another server, but Idus goes here for around 700-800 gold. So if we sort by lowest price and see the marks are relatively cheap. The seal goes for about 7 to 8 times the price of the mark. So you'll make quite a bit of profit there. For Tishanan, it's exactly the same story. The mark is incredibly cheap. And the seal goes for at the lowest 650 at the moment, which is a very nice amount of profit that you can make there. So let's see, Torkai. Again, mark's a bit more expensive and the seal goes for a very nice price as well. So you can tame these 3 and sell them on the marketplace to make some easy gold. And the second thing you can do is if you're over level 60 or higher, and I highly recommend tempered Alsatian gear, what you can do is join a party to run this dungeon right here. It's a daily dungeon and it's called King Hadakan's Underground Labyrinth. So you need to talk to this guy and it will give you quests as well. You'll get about 8 gold per quest. However, it is the loot inside this dungeon that will really be worth it. So this dungeon has a chance of dropping Like this right here, this is an example, a time-worn armor lucky box. So this gives a random piece of Tamasian armor. Now you also have weapon boxes and jewelry boxes. The jewelry obtained from these boxes is bound, it's not tradable anymore. However, the armor and the weapons, you can just list them on the marketplace if you can't use them. So if you get something for a different class, you can list it on the marketplace. Now the prices do vary per class. So things for a trickster or a berserker are relatively cheap, at least on this server. But things for a wizard or magician are very expensive. So if you get a piece of armor for those classes, you can list that on the marketplace for a couple thousand gold. So again, that is a really good way to make money. So the third one takes a bit of explanation, because for the third one you can run a dungeon. The dungeon is called the Tomb of the Worm. So I will go there via the cross-server shrine, but you can also go to Rimland Valley. Let's see, Rimland Valley. This is the area that you go through once you reach level 60, and once you're level 64, 65, you get to go to this dungeon, the Tomb of the Worm. Now, just like most dungeons, it has 4 different difficulties. It has story, elite, heroic, and legendary. Now, I would highly recommend that you run elite, because this is very much doable on your own. Heroic would be more difficult, that will be for more stronger players, and story just doesn't give you quite as much good stuff. Okay, so right there is the dungeon entrance, and you're going to want to talk to these 3 NPCs right here. These 3. So these are also present at the dungeon entrance in Rimland Valley, and they give you daily quests. Now I've already done mine for elite difficulty, and they give you 5 quests. For one, you need to defeat the end boss, Courtyard. For another, you need to defeat the first boss that you run into, and Researcher Serena will give you 3 quests. And for one, you need to defeat 8 moths that you find in the dungeon, and you can find all 8 in one run. You need to defeat some mutant people, and that quest can also be completed in one run, and you need to obtain from those mutant people 30 blood samples. Now that you might get lucky and get 30 in one run, but most of the time that won't be the case, and you'll have to run the dungeon another time to complete that quest. So I've already done my quests, but I can show you nonetheless how to run this dungeon and go through the bosses real quickly for you. So the mobs in here drop gold as well. They drop silver, I'm sorry. And the amount depends on the difficulty that you run it on. If you run it on Elite 1, you'll get less gold. If you run it on Elite 5, they drop more gold. So I highly recommend that you start at Elite 1 and see if you can work your way up to the higher difficulties. Okay, so we've loaded into the dungeon, and for the first part, for this part, you don't need to kill any mobs. These are pretty much useless, and you can zoom past them because they will reset. They will not follow you through the entire dungeon. So these 2 marksmen right here that I'm passing now, sometimes they don't reset and you're going to have to take them out. So once you've entered this area, you can see some insect milita here. You don't need to worry about them either, because you're just going to go to the side and sneak in between these bones here and jump up. So the thing is, they can't reach you here, so they will reset. So once you've done that, you'll run into the first gatekeeper, and he has a skill called Deep Stab. This is blockable, and I recommend you do so. Oh, he killed Tolkien. Alright, so when he's dead, Shrine will spawn, so you will use that. So these mobs drop about 25-30 silver a piece. We'll use the Shrine to get to the Mutation Laboratory, and you'll get the message that you need to destroy these tubes, because otherwise the difficulty will increase. I have not experienced this increase in difficulty, so you can just leave them be and skip them. So as you'll pass two of these kind of platforms, and you'll find these mutants here. So what you're going to do with these is you're going to round them up, because you'll need them for 2 quests. Bring them together. Let's see if we can catch both moths, because they're kind of annoying me. And just like that, it would be a very good idea to use skills that hit more than one target at a time. This way you can quickly take them out. Alright, so we've jumped off and reached the lower Mutation Laboratory. So around this entire place, around the edge, you will find more mutants and more moths if you still need to kill those. Now these 3 bosses, well, actually 1 boss and 2 minions, you'll need to kill these for your quests, and you'll need to keep an eye on Kinugak. Zerg and Zark don't really do anything except hit you. Kinugak has 2 skills. One is called Prickle, and you can move side to side to avoid it, and one is called Rock Throw, and you can do the same to avoid most of them. However, I recommend using skills that will give immunity. I have one right here, it's called Moment of Courage. And it will essentially make me immune to all damage, and it still deals damage to the target. So Prickle is the first one that he'll do, and he'll usually do 2 in a row. And if you move around him, you won't get thrown into the air by it. Alright, so after you've defeated this boss, you can go to Corrodian's hideout. She has 3 different skills. She does pull, which first pulls you in and then pushes you away. It does quite a bit of damage, so again, a pet that can heal or skills that can heal would be a good thing to have. She does bioabsorption, and on this difficulty you don't need to worry about it. On elite difficulty she doesn't really do any damage in my experience, but she does heal, so you just need to keep hitting her. And then she has another skill, and that one inflicts stun. So I can have this skill here, and when I'm caught off guard, as it says, or when I'm stunned, I can use that to recover. So she's dead. So altogether, Tomb of the Worm with the quests will give you about 70 gold per day. So that is always a good thing to do if you're short of gold and if you can run it. If you're unsure, you can ask a friend to help out for a first time. So that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you again in a next video. See ya!